Hello my dear students, this is Dr. 𝗵𝗺𝗺, your biochemistry faculty. In this video we are going to discuss about vitamin K. What is this vitamin K? What is the active form of this vitamin? What are the uses? What are the deficiency manifestations? So let's start with the discussion. The topic is vitamin K. Now, this K is actually derived from a German word coagulation, and that is what is the function of vitamin K. Now, what are the features of this? Vitamin K is a fat-soluble vitamin, very important, and this is the only fat-soluble vitamin which acts as a coenzyme. So, only fat-soluble vitamin acting as a coenzyme. Right, very important. Now, coming over again, what are the three active forms of vitamin K? How it acts in the body? These all we are going to discuss now. So, first of all, let's see the structures of the three forms of vitamin K. It basically exists in three forms, as you can see here. Vitamin K1, which is known as phylloquinone. Vitamin K2, which is known as menaquinone. And vitamin K3, which is known as menadione. So, menadione is the only water-soluble form of vitamin K. Right? Otherwise, if we talk about phylloquinone, menaquinone, because vitamin K is a fat-soluble vitamin, only menadione is the one which is a water-soluble form. And this is the structural difference between vitamin K1, vitamin K2, vitamin K3. Now coming over to this, then we come over to what are the basically functions. And yes, one more thing, it is also a endogenously synthesized vitamin. Very important. It is a endogenously synthesized vitamin in the body by the intestinal flora. Right. Now then after this, what are the biochemical functions of vitamin K? Right. Now, since I told you this is the only fat-soluble vitamin which is acting as a coenzyme. So, what is its function as a coenzyme? So, vitamin K acts as a coenzyme by acting as a, you can say it regulates or it modifies the post-translational modification of glutamic acid. So, the most important function is it catalyzes the post-translational modification of glutamic acid, of glutamate. Right? So, what is this post-translational modification? Means that it catalyzes the carboxylation of glutamate. Right? And what happens is, because there are so many proteins which are synthesized in the body by a process of translation. So, there is a specific type of post-translational modification which is occurring in the body, which modifies the proteins by simple, kind of मतलब there is a process, जैसे carboxylation will be there, hydroxylation will be there, so they will just modify the protein so that they can perform their function. So what is happening here is कि it is related to the blood. So glutamic acid is one of the components of prothrombin, so this is activating it so that you can say effective clot formation is there. And what is the function? The process is it is catalyzing the carboxylation. Carboxylation, attachment of carbon dioxide. And this is a very important process in a sense that this is not dependent on biotin. This is biotin independent carboxylation. That is why vitamin K plays a very, very important role in this. Okay. So it is like post-translational carboxylation of glutamate on what? On the of clotting factors to 7, 9 and 10. Right? Then it is required for again carboxylation in nephrocalcin. Right? Osteocalcin, protein S, means it is basically adding a carboxyl group in glutamic acid. So what is happening here is we know that what happens, say this is glutamate which is present on the active site of prothrombin. Because what happens is this prothrombin is converted into thrombin, right, and then you can say fibrinogen is converted into fibrin, and a clot is produced. Right. So what happens is this COO is already present here because glutamic acid is an acidic amino acid. Vitamin K is adding one more carboxylic group. So obviously if one more carboxylic group is added, maximum calcium adherence will be there. Very important. Okay. So I can say that the most important function of vitamin K is it is catalyzing the carboxylation of glutamate, which acts as a post-translational modification of the clotting factors 2, 7, 9 and 10. Now since it is acting as a coenzyme, so it has to be converted into some other form. So what happens is that this vitamin K, the moment it converts it is converted into vitamin K epoxide. And here post-translational carboxylation is there of glutamate of 2, 7, 9 and 10 factors. Right. Now this vitamin K epoxide, once its function is over, it has to be converted back to its original form. So here the enzyme is epoxide reductase. So there exists a cycle that this vitamin K, it is simply catalyzing the carboxylation, being converted into vitamin K epoxide, which is being converted into vitamin K in the presence of epoxide reductase. And now what happens here is warfarin and dicumirol. Warfarin and dicumirol are the inhibitors of epoxide reductase. This is again a very, very important application. Warfarin, which is the common rat poison, they inhibit. Okay, so that is why the bleeding will never stop and it will lead to bleeding manifestations. So this is vitamin K cycle, that vitamin K, when it is carboxylating, it is being converted into vitamin K epoxide, which is converted back to its original form in the presence of epoxide reductase. And these are the very important functions of vitamin K. Now coming over to this, what is the deficiency manifestations? Now if we talk about the deficiency manifestations, this vitamin K leads to increase in the prothrombin time. Increase in prothrombin time is there. Similarly, increase in bleeding time is also there. Bleeding and the neonates. Right, because neonates are more susceptible towards vitamin K deficiency because of 2 to 3 main factors, because I told you that vitamin K is synthesized by the intestinal flora. So they have a kind of sterile intestine initially, not enough to synthesize vitamin K. This is one very important feature. Okay, then we can say that there is immaturity of the lungs also. Right, so they are more prone towards the deficiency of vitamin K. So vitamin K can be given in the form of injections. Then you can say people who continuously use antibiotics, they are also more prone to the deficiency. The reason behind this is that prolonged use of antibiotics can disturb the intestinal flora. So prolonged use of antibiotics can disturb the intestinal flora. Very important, right? Then third one is that what is vitamin K toxicity? To some extent vitamin K is toxic also. So what happens in vitamin K toxicity? It leads to hemolysis. Right? Because bleeding manifestations are actually the main feature of vitamin K. So it will lead to hemolysis. Okay? And this hemolysis will lead to kernicterus and brain damage. Very important. Because if hemolysis is there, the main thing is it will lead to hemolytic jaundice. Okay, so we are not going into that much detail because these things we cover in medicine also. So here biochemistry mein what you need to know is that vitamin K plays a very important role as it leads to the post-translational modification or post-translational carboxylation of glutamic acid, which is the major, I would say, amino acid present on the active site of prothrombin. So what will happen is it will put more COO group, so which will lead to more adherence with calcium, so that there will be a formation of clot. And deficiency of this, automatically this reaction will suffer. So it will lead to increase in the bleeding time, it will lead to increase in the prothrombin time. And coming over to the sources, if we talk about the sources of vitamin K, we can say halibut oil is also a source. But yes, vitamin K is an endogenously synthesized vitamin because it is synthesized by the intestinal flora. Right? So this is all about this vitamin K. And the most important point which you have to remember is it has 3 forms. But menadione is the only water soluble form. Rest are fat soluble. Okay, and this is asked in the exam also, okay, which is the water soluble form of vitamin K. So always go for menadione. And synthetically it can be synthesized and it can be used also. So that's all in vitamin K video. Thank you so much.